All right, modern day mystics, fellow truth seekers, James and Justin, back again looking at all things culturally relevant. We got another Koranos video to do a reaction on, and it is about what if aliens really exist. Do you believe aliens exist?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Yes, me too. But I love the subject of aliens. I'm a little bit of a nerd, and I think there is a little bit of a tie in the spirituality realm with aliens. Some people think that aliens are spiritual beings. They think they're like demons or are angels, or beings from another dimension.
I take back my yes, of course. I mean, I kind of think so. Like, if you were to ask me what are the odds that aliens exist in the universe, I'd be like, yeah, I think there's good odds. But I don't know anything about it, like you just kind of said. Could be anything.
So I think it's a good question to pose. What if aliens really exist? And we'll take a look at it.
All right.
Are we alone in the universe? For centuries, humans have speculated about the existence of extraterrestrial life. We imagine strange and colorful life on distant planets. We tell stories about alien civilizations pursuing interplanetary dominance. But what are the chances of extraterrestrial organisms existing somewhere in our galaxy? If aliens do exist, why haven't we encountered them before? The Milky Way galaxy contains between 100 and 400 billion stars. Around over 3,000 of those stars, humans have discovered extrasolar planets, or exoplanets, which may be capable of supporting life. To date, scientists have detected more than 4,900 exoplanets in our galaxy alone. With roughly 200 billion galaxies in the universe, there could be trillions of potentially habitable planets out there. What are the chances that one of those planets supports life? According to the mediocrity principle, the evolution of our solar system...
Well, there you go. Mathematically, trillions of potential planets that could possibly have life on it. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the reasons I picked this video is because depending on your beliefs in, like, when you're thinking about God or your spirituality, I think having that in mind, in the back of your head, that there's potential out of trillions of possibilities that there could be life on a planet, it makes you reassess maybe some of the more fervent beliefs you might have, maybe with your religion and stuff like that. Because think about it, like, if you have an idea of like how God is and how God relates to this situation going on Earth and how things should play out and where it's going, well, how do other life forms on another planet play into that story?
Well, wouldn't it be so cool if we got ahead of everybody else, and the first planet we went to, we were like, they had giant statues that looked like Jesus but an alien or something. It was like, oh my goodness, it's happening so similar on other planets.
It's the real deal.
Like their stuff looked a lot like ours or something. Like, they're entering the, this phase where everything believes this.
Well, yeah, that could, if we were, like, if we beat them to another planet and we found, like, real weird temples and stuff like that, and they were doing it kind of like we were, but a little bit different, and their gods looked like them.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a very human assumption to make, too. Yeah. Chances are that, especially if some of the, elements that govern their galaxy are way different than ours, what if you came across stuff you could not understand?
Oh, like, I'm sure what that's if they're like real, like, definitely.
You get into interdimensional beings and stuff like that. What if they're hyper advanced for some reason, and you're like, it's astonishing, like, kind of shocking to see what you saw. Because if you took somebody from our past, like somebody from 1820, and plopped them now, they might go catatonic. They'd be like, I don't even understand what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, I take that for granted. That's why, like, some of the stories, like, I'm just thinking about in the Bible where people, they prostrate in, like, front of, like, no words can express.
Yeah.
I think of that scene in, Contact, when Jodie Foster gets blasted out into the cosmos, and she's like, no words. They should have said a poet.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
System and the properties that eventually led to the evolution of life may not be unusual in the universe. If the mediocrity principle is true, alien life probably exists in some form elsewhere in our galaxy. However, Humans have not discovered any concrete evidence of extraterrestrial organisms. We don't know which planets they live on or what shape they take. Even their chemical composition remains a mystery. On Earth, carbon is the primary building block of all living organisms, constituting the majority of biomass on our planet. Alien life may not share the same chemical structure. In science fiction, writers have explored the possibility of silicon-based life forms, which may behave and evolve entirely unlike life on Earth. Much of our understanding of extraterrestrial life revolves around a basic assumption that alien organisms share certain traits with organisms on Earth. Those traits include chemical structures and biological imperatives, like survival, competition, and procreation. Given these assumptions, scientists believe extraterrestrial life forms may resemble some of the earliest microorganisms found on Earth. About 3.7 billion years ago, single-celled microbes called prokaryotes first evolved on our planet. Some of the earliest organisms gathered at the bottom of the ocean, where they survived on mineral-rich, superheated seawater. Roughly 1 billion years later, prokaryotes evolved into more complicated eukaryotes. Another billion years passed before eukaryotes developed into multicellular organisms, which eventually exploded into diverse kingdoms of complex life. Complex organisms represent billions of years of evolution. Assuming life is consistent throughout the universe, alien microbes may follow a similar evolutionary path. Over time, these microbes may expand into a diverse ecosystem of complex organisms, which could look radically different from life on our planet.
It's crazy because those little critters look like aliens.
Yeah.
Like we're so caught up in like looking out, you know, sometimes just looking in, and like when you look under a microscope and you see like a water bear. It looks creepy as anything, but it looks like an alien life form. And I've heard like some people describe, like Joe Rogan was saying, like the more you zoom in, it looks like a psychedelic trip.
Yeah.
The more you start like zooming in, it's like, dear God.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happens when we get the technology to zoom in even farther? Because we're limited to how much we can zoom in.
Yeah, and what happens when you use your own consciousness to zoom further into what's happening around you? Things get a little psychedelic, and I think that's reflected in some of the Marvel movies, like, you know, Doctor Strange going through psychedelic worlds, or, you know, what's it, Ant-Man going into, he zooms down, and it's psychedelic down there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's in our consciousness to, like, take a closer look at the reality, the micro and the macro, and it's space is psychedelic. When you go upward, it's psychedelic. When you go inward, it's psychedelic.
Yeah.
And it just makes me think about time. He's talking about massive time frames, you know, 1 billion years to this and 1 billion years to that. You're like, boring. But not everything's got the same perception of time. There could be things that perceive time so differently, and it's but a day, you know, billion years or something like that. The other thing that he mentioned was that our planet, the way we've evolved, it is sort of like all about competition and like consuming of everything. And I'm like, I wonder if when you span that out, that gives us a planet with like war and bombs, and, you know, if other planets see that and they're like, they didn't evolve that way, it was more, you know, symbiotic and not so violent and competitive. And that when they regard our planet, they're like, man, that's a chaotic planet. They've got to where they are on competition. How is that even possible?
It's like all we know. It would be so foreign to experience anything different than that. Like, there's no competition here?
What if these things showed up and they were like, had no concept of competition? They were like, hello. We're like, kill it.
Yeah, well, I've heard comedians joke about it. They're like, are you kidding? We're not dealing with those people. Or you're just, you know, we'll wait another 1 million years before they figure out that everything they're doing is nonsense.
Well, we always make sure to observe the patterns of any planet we go to, and it's like constantly exploding, and because we perceive outside of time, we can just see it in a constant state of chaos. So we just essentially leave it alone.
We're getting ignored.
An alien ecosystem may even foster an intelligent species, which could develop into an advanced civilization. They may study the cosmos, build advanced technology, and eventually explore space beyond their solar system. If the evolution of intelligent life is not unusual in the universe, humans should have contacted one or more of these interstellar civilizations. Humans have launched several unmanned ambassadors to the outer boundary of our solar system. We've sent radio waves like the Arecibo message and the cosmic call to distant star clusters. Our reach may be small, and our technology may be underdeveloped, but if humans can send messages and probes into space, why hasn't another intelligent species answered our calls?
Am I right?
Italian physicist Enrico Fermi asked a similar question. If the mediocrity principle is true, and there is a high probability an alien species exists in our galaxy, why haven't we heard from them? This famous contradiction, named the Fermi Paradox, has sparked a myriad of radical theories, which may explain why humans seem to be alone in the universe. One extraordinary hypothesis imagines our solar system as a protected wilderness area, a zoo organized by an advanced alien civilization. Another hypothesis claims every intelligent species in our galaxy was destroyed before escaping their home planets. Stranger still, an alien species may exist outside of our perception, perhaps living on a plane undetectable to humans. But these hypotheses are highly speculative. There are far more likely explanations behind the apparent absence of extraterrestrial life. The Milky Way galaxy is incredibly vast, and we have only explored a very small piece of it. An intelligent species may be living on the other side of our galaxy, on an exoplanet thousands of light years from Earth. Perhaps this civilization sent a signal into space hundreds or even thousands of years ago, and humans are still waiting for the message to arrive. While possible, none of these hypotheses properly explain the Fermi Paradox. If at least one alien civilization possessed the technology to send interstellar messages, by now, that species should have developed interstellar transportation and traveled to our solar system. In response to the Fermi Paradox, an economist named Robin Hanson proposed a theory called the Great Filter. According to Hanson, one stage in the long evolutionary journey of intelligent life is so rare or unlikely that no species has successfully achieved interstellar colonization. Potentially, humans have not encountered aliens because the Great Filter limits the spread of intelligent life throughout our galaxy. If Hanson's theory is correct, does that mean humans are the first or only intelligent species to exist? Even if humans are the only civilization to exist at this time, other civilizations may have existed millions of years ago. It's possible
Our opinion of what intelligent is, sometimes I question that. If what we consider intelligent is intelligent, and that to other species, they're like, this logic thing that you're doing, this rationality thing that you're doing is like a disease.
Yeah.
Why are you building so many things? Like, you had survival covered a long time ago. We all, like, it wouldn't be communicated that way. That's how a human would understand their explanation.
Yeah.
But imagine for an instance that there's intelligence in everything, like some kind of sovereign godlike intelligence that governs, like, makes your heart beat, makes everything work the way it does, and that something has happened to us and then it's not so great that we complexify. Like, oh, you're complexifying? Why?
Yeah.
Why are you complexifying? Everything's fine. Just like, see,
be.
Yeah, we started gathering pollen. The bees started gathering pollen and doing this. We've been doing it for millions of years.
Yeah.
In fact, you're messing with us. Your whole
You're the actual
technology
cancer.
Yeah, it's
the
not.
cancer of
It's
the
not
galaxy.
smart to be smart. Like, it's not. You know what I mean? Like, it's very hard to try to articulate what I'm
I
trying
hear
to
what
say
you're
here.
saying. Yes, yeah.
We always refer to ourselves as intelligent because we can do math. What if doing math is bad?
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, I'm not listening anymore. That's ridiculous, Justin." Well, don't have a temper tantrum. It's just an idea.
It's just an idea. No, and I think it's definitely like
Because where do we get?
letting the natural process of things do its own thing without us putting so much into it. It was like, I heard this thing was ridiculous, probably like 10 years ago, where there was like, had to do with an ecosystem that had collapsed, and then they like reintroduced like the old animals back into the ecosystem, and like let them do their thing, and everything came back and started working again. And that guy got like a Nobel Prize.
It was the elephants. Yeah,
I was like, so you let everything do what it was supposed to do, and you get a Nobel Prize for that? Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Just the clear thing was we just destroyed everything by getting our grubby hands all over it.
It was the elephants. They found that they would go in and they would eat everything and then crap everywhere, and they were like, ew, like they left this place a thing. Let's get the elephants out of there. And then they were like, the land didn't do well, and they were like, well, let's see what happens when we let the elephants go back in. And they ate everything and crapped everywhere, and it fertilized everything, and everything came back better. And then they were like, yeah, you know, it's what if this is a whole side avenue we've taken, like, let's explode off the planet. Hey, let's look at Earth from up in space. Everywhere where there's humans looks like black moles on the Earth. Like, anyway, let's go to a new planet and spread more of that. Like, what if we're the idiots? You know? Yeah. And everything else is genius. It's like, I don't know if we're supposed to commit to our role in the universe as spreading like the Borg, or if we're supposed to, like, dial it back, and we're only doing this to get to some, you know, some loop where we realize, oh, we had it right before we started pursuing all this technology. Like, what are we really after? Yeah. You know, we just want to spread and spread and spread.
Yeah. Well, I think you're asking some good questions, and I think if you're going to be a truth seeker, you have to be able to, like, tolerate questions like the ones that you're asking and ponder them. Be like, and not just be like, let me get back to my calculator and trying to figure out how this all works. No, like, actually think about it.
Yeah, I think so.
Intelligent alien species lived in our galaxy before the evolution of complex life on Earth. This species may have discovered tools, built structures, and colonized their home planet. Perhaps they set their sights on the stars, but at some point, their civilization was annihilated. An entire empire may have risen and fallen while life on Earth was primitive and microscopic. As a result, our civilizations did not overlap in space or time, a likely possibility considering the age and size of our galaxy. Homo sapiens have walked the Earth for roughly 300,000 years. That's a long time for humanity, but negligible in relation to planetary and galactic timescales. The likelihood of two technological civilizations evolving at the same time in the same galaxy may be exceptionally low. But this is one of many hypotheses in a diverse and largely abstract field of study. Ultimately, humans know very few concrete truths about the creatures that may or may not live among the stars. All it takes is one discovery to change our understanding of extraterrestrial life. It may not happen in our lifetimes, but someday, humans may prove whether or not we are alone in the universe. Until then, the search for extraterrestrial life will continue.
Do you ever get disappointed with what people speculate aliens look like? You know what I mean? Like that, like why would it, like it'll be like a wasp or something like, or like a, wow, this thing's got an abnormally big head with big eyes. You know, I know that you're when you're trying to appeal and get a message across to a large group of people, you got to use familiarity and stuff, and I've got to go into like niche comic books to find some really out there things. Like, get everything you imagine out of your mind. What if you go to another planet and these things are like spaghetti monsters? You know what I mean? Like something amorphous that you can't even, and they don't exist unless they're singing. You know, you know, like you could go so creative with it. Sometimes it's a little disappointing to see people what they imagine. It'll come in a metal spaceship, just like we would do.
Well, I think you nailed it right on the head. I think when people are trying to talk about this stuff, it's like, well, I got to like appeal to some mass that they can, you know, kind of put it all together. I think we do need to get beyond the little green men, though. That's a little ridiculous. Some like they're exactly like us, except for they just look like more plain and have big eyes.
Yeah, I liked your idea when it was big in the news. These flying saucers and UAFs or whatever that were flying through the sky, and you were like, I think you had an idea that was like, what if they were creatures of some sort or came from somewhere, and really their major function was flying through the universe. They were like not even conscious. We were just spotting them.
They're not super smart. It's just that it's like breathing for them to be able to astro travel, or something like that, which is totally possible.
And for some reason you can't catch them, and if you do, you're like, what is this?
They don't like to be seen. They don't like to be caught. So they're just like always coming and going.
Super evasive, and they're
Just to
immortal.
torture us, just to get us going.
We finally got one, and it doesn't have a brain. It just floats through the universe.
We got it in a plastic glass case and just bings off all day. The ding, 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 ding. But anyway, this was a good fun video, guys. If you liked it, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone. Until next time,
Stay spiritual.